Good evening. This is the Planning Board meeting of January 23rd, 2018. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So everybody switched sides here tonight.
We're just staring at
I'm
it.
looking over there, I go, wow, we got some people missing.
Elijah, everyone moved away from me.
Where's the love?
All right, the first, we have a couple of sign permits. The first one is Homegrown Academy, 145 South Main Street. It's Unit B1-5. If you want to come up, please, and give us your name, and you can sit down and tell us what's going on.
Good evening. Paul Brennan. I'm the owner of Homegrown Academy, and we're looking to get our sign permitted to put up on the building as well as out at the marquee at Route 58.
So where is this?
It's in the Country Junction Plaza, which is where the Little Red Smokehouse is.
Oh, okay.
Down in South Carver.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business?
Homegrown Academy, we are education and community outreach, offering information for the community on all things related to the now legal cannabis industry.
So we have a sign. Do we have that in our package? The
You have the original.
okay, Homegrown Academy.
I got the original here.
Okay, I see it. And this meets all the
Dimensional requirement.
dimensional requirements.
It does, Mr. Chair, as it's presented to us in the packet, it does meet the dimensional requirements suitable for that zoning.
There going to be any lights on this, or
As of now, no.
it's just going
Just
to be?
just mounted
sign.
up to the side of the building like the other signs in the plaza are.
Anybody on the board have any questions?
I just have one question. You're going to be to the left side or the right side of the, is there a vape store there as well?
We are looking at the building to the left side, so the vape store would be between us and the
Little
restaurant.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I don't have anything. The only thing is, standard policy, a building permit. And if there's no lighting, we don't have to worry about that.
Any other questions, concerns?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the sign presented to us for Homegrown Academy with the following conditions. A building permit is required. No lighting.
Second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
So that's unanimous.
Awesome, thank you. Thank
So
you.
you're all set. Thank you. The next, we have a sign permit for Little Kitchen on 80 Main Street. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ricky. I'm the site contractor.
So what do we have here? So 80 Main Street. Where is this, where is 80 Main Street? So what is this
To be
next to?
the 10th Gourmet, and but they changed to the
Oh.
Yummy House recently,
Right.
and I have the new update here.
Oh, okay.
I only have the 3 pages.
That's fine, thank you.
It used to be the Yummy House.
Yes.
But they changed to Little Kitchen. They will be the same dimension.
Okay.
Same material.
Just different,
Yeah.
different business heading. All right, any questions by the board?
Mr. Chair, just a question through you to the applicant. Are you the new owner?
No, I'm the site contractor.
You're the sign contractor?
Yeah.
Okay. And did they change ownership?
Yes,
They did.
they did. Yeah.
So it changed ownership before to Tan's?
Tents and then to Yummy House and then now to Little Kitchens.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Oh, new owners.
Yeah,
okay.
new owner. Yeah.
Oh,
So the standard, Mr. Chair, I just require a building permit on it, that already has pre-existing gooseneck lighting on it.
all right,
The lighting's gonna stay the same that it is
Same,
right now?
same. The sign is illuminated because they have a goose LED light.
Yeah.
already there, so you're just
Yeah.
gonna change the
Yes,
sign?
yes.
So we need a building permit and that would be it.
That's it.
So if there, you have any questions?
I was waiting for you to say, I'll make a motion to.
Okay. So you're gonna make a motion to approve
Yes.
the sign for Little Kitchen, we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. You're all set.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Now, is the food gonna change? Don't know, okay.
You're supposed to say better.
All right. So we have two approval not required plans. The first one is Pierre Cole, 22 Main Street. It's Assessors Map 2, Lot 15, 1A-1C. Good evening.
Joe Webby, Webby Engineering, and with me is Pierre Cole. And what Pierre Cole would like to do is straighten out his lot line a little bit and sell 2 parcels of land to his neighbor, the Murphys, at 26. Currently, the lot line goes like this, and he would like to have this as his lot line. So we need approval under the approval not required. We are going to be leaving 200 feet of frontage with Pierre's house and approximately 112,000 square feet of area.
Okay, so basically, you're just swapping one piece of land for another piece of land.
Yeah, well, he's not getting anything back from the Murphys. He's basically selling them the 2 parcels.
Oh, okay. And then both lots would be legal size and have legal frontage and,
That's correct.
oh, these are the plans here.
That's for the next hearing.
Any questions by the board?
I don't see any problem, Mr. Chair. It's just squaring off the lots.
Okay, no, yeah, everything looks fine to me. Anybody else have any other questions or concerns?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the Form A for Pierre Cole, 22 South Main Street.
And I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have another one. Oh, so you're doing,
Andrews Point
oh,
Road
Andrews
also.
Point, okay, so then the second one is for Jeffrey Merritt, Andrews Point Road, Assessors Map 1-12-0-R.
Mr. Chair, at this time, I recuse myself. You get a drink.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna leave because that is no.
It's not you, huh?
Okay. Good night.
Take care, Pierre.
All right, what do we have here?
Joe Webby, Webby Engineering. With me is Jeff and Pam Merritt. Over there. And the Merritts and Robert Andrews III wish to buy a lot that has previously been approved by this board that's currently owned by Lazan. And what they intend to do is split it in half in equal areas and then combine the 2 parcels with their existing properties. so that the Merritts currently own this piece, and they would like to take this 30,000 square feet and combine that this way, and this parcel A is gonna be combined with the Andrews property. So basically, we're taking one approved lot, we're slicing it in half, and so it will not be a lot anymore.
Okay. All right, so it doesn't have to conform to any kind of frontage setbacks or anything like that, because it's adjoined, or gonna be attached to the other properties. Okay. Do we have that, do I have that plan? It's this one here.
Give this one. You got
This
one?
one's for you, oh, you have,
They are in the packets.
Oh, are they?
Those
Oh, okay.
Copies that
Okay.
I'll ask the board to sign if you approve.
okay. Let me just take a look. Okay, I see the first one, okay, I see this one. Just take a look at it.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
Okay. It looks good to me. I don't have any further questions. Anybody else? Jim?
Yeah, it seems all right. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to endorse the Form A for Jeffrey Merritt, as presented to the board.
Second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so it's the three of us, and with an abstention. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, we have a 7 PM public hearing. It's a continuance for Lisa Crowley, 160 North Main Street. It's the Fetch and Rest Doggy Daycare.
Mr. Chairman, I had an opportunity to speak to the applicant earlier in the week, and it's been requested that the board continue the public hearing until our next meeting.
All right. And our next,
What's that date?
yeah,
February 13th.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to continue the public hearing for Lisa Crowley, 160 North Main Street, to February 13th at 7 o'clock.
so we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I can second that.
Yes.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. All right, the next, can we continue doing this, scheduling everything at 7 o'clock? I mean,
We're permitted to schedule events for 7 o'clock, and we can begin them later, but we may not
Okay.
begin them sooner.
Okay,
So if you would
all right, so
continue-
that works,
It
that's
may be
fine.
that Lisa could possibly also to be continued next
Yep.
time, and so by scheduling the next public hearing for 7 o'clock would ensure we don't lose time.
Sure. All right, thank you. We also have another public hearing continuance. It's on the application of Ediville Land Holdings requesting site plan approval pursuant to section 3100 of the Carver zoning bylaw for property located at Pine Street in Carver. Plans were prepared by Arthur F. Borden Associates, dated November 2nd, 2017, showing the paving and associated drainage on existing parking lot on 2 sheets for said development.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for Edaville Land Holdings to February 13th at 7 o'clock.
I have a question for you. I'm not gonna be around on the 13th, I just saw. Should we reschedule these to the 27th?
Ooh, good point.
Sorry, I didn't look at my calendar before the previous.
Yeah, we would
Continue.
have
Would it
to-
be advisable, because it's a
we would have to go the 27th. on that. We'd have to do the doggy daycare too.
Mhm.
Thanks, Jim. I'll advise my motion for Edaville to scheduled for February 27th at 7.
Second that.
Okay, we have motion and a second to reschedule that public hearing for February 27th at 7 o'clock. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, seeing the information that we just had, I'd like to make a motion for the previous public hearing, Lisa Carl, 160 North Main Street, to set that continued public hearing to the 27th of February at 7 o'clock due to Jim would be out of town on the 13th. So that's my motion.
Second that.
Do we need,
We need to re-vote it because we voted to continue to the 13th, but Jim will be out, so we won't have what we need.
so we need four votes on that. All right, so, okay, so we're gonna have to change that. Okay, so we have a motion to continue Lisa Crowley's 160 North Main Street to continue that to February 27th. So we have a motion, do we have a
Yes.
second?
Second
We had a second from Jim?
that.
We had a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we have another public hearing. This is on the application of the town of Carver requesting site plan approval. Well, let me read the public hearing notice. Public hearing notice, in accordance with the provisions of the town of Carver zoning bylaw, the Carver zoning bylaw, the Carver Planning Board will hold a public hearing on January 23rd, 2018 at 7 o'clock in the Carver Town Hall Meeting Room 1, in the application of the Town of Carver requesting site plan approval pursuant to Section 3100 of the Carver zoning bylaws for property located on 60 Meadow Road on Assessors Map 105, Parcel 2 in Carver, Mass. To renovate an existing track and field stadium that includes a new paved running track, infield synthetic turf field, sports sliding, bleachers, and a press box, supporting building, parking lot improvements, site circulation, and landscaping improvements. Any persons interested and wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the plan is on file at the town clerk's office and may be reviewed during normal business hours. Carver Planning Board, Bruce Mackey, Chair. And the published dates were January 12th and January 19th of 2018. Good evening, gentlemen.
Does the board mind if we present from here as we have something from TV or?
As long as we can hear that,
Okay.
and a video crew will tell us if they can hear you well enough or not.
I've been in the room before and projected, so I think we'll be in good shape. We'll see.
While they get set up, I just want to grab water.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'll hold on to them.
Okay, so the mic's fine.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, let me see. Yeah, that's right.
We did that one. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to go back to that, yeah. Missed that. Thanks, Jim. I thought they were both the same. Yeah, yeah. Back to that. Just remind me to go back.
I'll have to recuse myself from number 37. And a good full backing
So, okay, so these, but sign those can go back.
sign.
Are you ready?
We are.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the town of Carver, my name is Jonathan Chark from Activitas. This is Ben Gleason from Activitas as well. We are the landscape architects and civil engineers working with the town on the renovation to the middle high school track and field project. Brief presentation, walk you through the existing conditions, what the proposed conditions are, highlight a few items related to site plan that are worth discussing, and then we'll open to questions and comments. And I may project a little bit, as it may be a little easier for me to point on the screen. So, the existing track and field facility at the high school, adjacent to the existing parking lot. The school is to the north of the facility. It's an existing 6-lane track with a natural grass field, currently lit, and bleachers on both sides of the track and field. One thing to note, we will be in front of the Conservation Commission tomorrow evening. We were supposed to be on last week, but due to the snow, that was delayed. So we will be in front of the Conservation Commission for a notice of intent hearing related to the vegetated wetlands that are south of the facility, and this small vegetated swale that's the baseball field is to the east of the facility. So this swale has also been flagged and identified as bordering vegetated wetlands. So due to our work, the existing and proposed work within the 65-foot and 100-foot buffer, we'll be in front of those folks tomorrow evening. I'll click to the next one. So we'll be renovating or proposing to renovate the track and field in kind. The proposed track would be a 6-lane oval and expanding the straightaway to 8 lanes. So that straightaway 8-lane is on this side adjacent to the existing baseball facility. The existing track right now is extremely thin, so really only field hockey and football plays inside. So as part of the renovation, we're looking to expand the width of the field. In order to do that, we're holding the edge of the existing track and expanding over toward the softball field. So in this area where there's existing bleachers, that grade would be regraded. We're expanding that way. And we're taking those existing bleachers, removing them, and proposing new bleachers that will be on the same side as the existing press box and bleachers now. So as you will see here, proposing a new bleacher and press box. The press box is a standard 8x24 press box with an accessible ramp to the press box. We're looking at 84 permanent seats and about 600 semi-portable seats. There'll be some separate bleacher units on both sides of the permanent bleacher and press box. As part of this renovation, we're also looking to pave these areas behind the end lines, considered as D areas. Those would be paved in asphalt, and that's where the long triple jump, your high jump, and pole vault event areas would occur. The field surface is proposed as a synthetic turf field. So it would be a synthetic turf carpet with infill and a drainage stone below that ties into the proposed drainage system. Just north of the proposed press box and bleacher, there's a small support building that's being proposed. It would have 3 restrooms for male, 3 restrooms for females, small storage space, and concessions. And as part of the overall site renovation, we're looking to propose a 24-foot wide bus drop-off, parent drop-off area. Generally can fit about 3 buses as shown in the rendering. It would also be used as a space for parents for pickup and drop-off before and after sporting events. Next one, parking. Touch briefly on the parking itself. So looking at the overall site, there's 456 total spaces for the school facility. By doing this bus drop-off area, we're generally reducing the number of spaces by 9. We're still maintaining, there's 17 existing handicap spaces. There will be 17 handicap spaces after the renovation. In general, where we had to provide this access at the beginning and end of the drop-off space, that's generally where we're losing a few spaces. So again, a deduct of 9 total spaces on the entire facility. Based on the zoning bylaw though, the required spaces for the building based on the number of students and teachers as staff, we generally need about 263 spaces, so the school has well over what is needed for the bylaws. One of the other items, site lighting. Actually, if you want to go back to. So we have two site lighting fixtures. We're proposing an 11-foot pedestrian light pole, which would generally light adjacent to these walkways through here and this walkway up top through there. And then there'll be a few light fixtures in the parking lot area that are 15 feet tall to light the parking lot area. We've done photometrics that have been tied into the peer review that's been done by Fuss and O'Neill, and they've taken a look at that. And we can provide some additional information and the photometrics as necessary. One other thing to note, the proposed facility is proposed for light, the sports facility is proposed as a lit facility. So there's 4 light poles proposed, 2 on this side and 2 on this side to light the field and the track more for pedestrian use. I don't think it'll be, the track won't be lit per se for actual outdoor events or outdoor track events. It's mostly for the field itself. We're currently working with permitting through FAA based on the height regulations. We have to be concerned with being so close to the Plymouth Municipal Airport. As I know, so the site lighting fixtures is actually consistent with what's being done at the elementary school, so we're trying to match the specifications for consistency within the town. And then touching again on the site lighting system, right now we're looking at LED system. Either an LED or metal halide will be the lighting system we use for the sports lighting. Generally, they're about 80 to 90 feet tall, so part of the process with the FAA is to determine if there's anything special we need to, considering the proximity to the airport, and if there's any special lighting or notification we need to add into the project for airplanes coming and going from the facility. As I've noticed, Fuss and O'Neill has done a peer review. As of today, I don't believe we've addressed any of the comments, questions they had, and it was mostly related to storm drainage and site plan bylaws. So at this time, I would open up to the board or anyone else to ask any questions or comments.
Want to do staff comments, Mr. Chair?
Do you have any comments, Stephen?
Staff conducted a technical review committee hearing with the public safety officials and other regulatory officials in the land use department. There were no comments or concerns shared by the police. There was a review by the fire of the 12-foot gate. Concession stands was also under scrutiny. I'm not recalling though, John, the concession stand isn't going to be built at this time?
It all has to do with budget. We're still working on what the budget is. I think we're meeting actually this week, the building committee with CPC to go over what that is. So the plan is to permit the building as part of the project. And then depending on how we bid and how the funding comes in, maybe a slight amendment to at least what we build now, but at least have permitted the full build out.
And you met with the fire department individually or separately from this?
We have not. I believe during that initial meeting we had about a month ago, I think EMS mentioned that the 12-foot access was good.
Right.
But we probably need to confirm with the fire department one more time just to make sure.
Mr. Chair, I do have a note here from that TRC where Jesse Boyle from the fire department indicated that he would work with the building commissioner to share comments with regard to the location and strength of the suppression systems. Conservation Commission, as John mentioned, will be hearing this tomorrow. There was initially only a concern with regard to being within 65 feet of a wetland, and that's since been reviewed by some of the members of the board. Health had no particular concerns with the exception of the septic system. John, do you want to talk to us a little bit about what's happening with the septic system, what was proposed?
Certainly. So I think we're actually trying to set up a meeting, I think, next week or so with Kevin from the Board of Health to review our potential design, and then I believe we're going to file a separate permit with them directly for septic. What we're trying to do, the existing septic system or the newly installed septic system for the building, the leaching field is generally in this corner. So the idea is for us to run from the building, run a line, pump, and tie into that existing leaching field. Right now, we're trying to figure out if there's enough capacity and if there's any concerns from the Board of Health in order to do that.
And heretofore, the Board of Health agent has expressed to me that he has no concerns. He just wanted to make certain that it was completely compliant with DEP statements. We did receive some comments, as the applicant indicated, from Fuss and O'Neill. We do have a representative from Fuss and O'Neill here who may present some additional insights to the memorandum that's contained in your packets.
Okay. Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone, members of the board. My name's Andy Glines. I'm a civil engineer with Fuss and O'Neill. We've conducted a review of the project and had some correspondence over the last couple weeks with the applicant. Over the course of that time, the applicant has addressed our concerns, but in our latest memo dated January 23rd, we just had a couple remaining items that we wanted to make the board aware of before they made a decision on the project moving forward. So I'll go through those brief items now. A lot were addressed by the applicant previously. Item number 3 under the zoning bylaws, I was informed by the applicant today that they will be proposing compliant lights and height. So that item should be addressed, and as they stated previously, they will be proposing heights that meet that section of the bylaws. And we made a comment regarding confirming with the fire department the 12-foot access lane. They acknowledged that comment and said they were in process of confirming with the fire department that that would be acceptable to their department. And as we understand, they'll be meeting with the Conservation Commission tomorrow, and they have submitted to Mass DEP, but as of January 19th, or presently, they haven't received any comments on their NOI to Mass DEP. And lastly, under stormwater management, the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook requires 2 feet of separation for infiltration systems for stormwater treatment. And they're currently proposing portions of the field infiltration system will have 1.8 feet of separation. Generally, that's because the field will slope down from the peak in the center towards the perimeter drain at the intersection of the track and the field. But based on our review of the soil analysis and the proposed use, the track being only used for athletic activities and not receiving salt or any real pollutant loads, we don't have any concerns with the reduced separation for the filtration system to groundwater. That's all we had for remaining comments at this time.
Mr. Chair, for you, so that was a 2-foot mark and going down to 1 foot?
1.8.
1.8?
Yes, and that's just towards the edges of the field closest to the track. So portions of the filtration system will have 2 feet of separation. It's just as it tapers closer to the track, they're reducing that depth.
Thank you, and I want to welcome you. We haven't seen you yet, and I've been here a
Appreciate that.
long time. So welcome.
Any
Unless-
other-
Mr. Chair.
Any other further questions by board members before I open it up to the public?
So this isn't the final plan, this is just a proposed plan as of right now?
I think right now, this is the full build-out of the project that we're looking at right now, based on the budget. And when we put this out to bid, we may put in some alternates to give a little bit of, give the town an opportunity if the numbers come in high to pick and choose some items. But I believe the building committee's goal would be to have this as the full build-out for the project. I think some of this is figuring out, if it makes sense, the building, when we put it out to bid, is that an alternate, or does the town purchase that separately, or at a later date, rather than rolling into the full bid package? I think, once we get a little better handle on that, we would probably ask for an amendment, or at least, talk with you folks again, just to update you on that. But overall, this is the project they want to build, just based on budget.
So, Mr. Chair, so the building is gonna have restrooms, the building is gonna be where the press box is, the building is gonna be, the base for the bleachers,
They're 2 separate structures.
so they are two.
Yes, they are. So, it's right here. So the press box is located directly behind the bleachers on center with the facility. And then this small building right here where the 7 is, that would be the restroom concessions structure.
Right. And then, so the bleachers are gonna stay the same there. And then there's not gonna be any bleachers on the other side of the field. Now they're gonna eliminate that by going up to the 600 seats.
Correct, yeah, the athletic director in the school was not concerned with keeping the bleachers for home away separate. So they figured that the gain to widen the field and get more space there and put all the home and away on the same side was beneficial. It also helps, one of the things I didn't know, one of the concerns at the beginning of the project was all the circulation when people show up for a game, players, spectators, everyone's coming in the same entrance. So by putting all the bleachers on this side, this is going to be the spectator entrance through here, and then this is going to be emergency entrance down to the facility, and the players would come there. So it's going to help control circulation a little better during games.
Any other questions?
I'll have some after the public hearing.
Now, are we here tonight to vote on for approval? Or are there things still to be considered before we vote on this?
There is a matter to be considered with DEP. I'm confident, however, having talked to the health agent, that the proposal as drafted by the Activitas is adequate to what our health agent inspected or reviewed. Today is a public hearing, so the board can elect to close the public hearing. And this is a site plan review. You have the maps in front of you, so the board can take whatever action I believe it feels is necessary at this time.
Thank you. Is there anybody out in the audience that would, has any questions or concerns that would like to ask the board members or the engineers here? Seeing nobody coming up.
So, Mr. Chair, to the board members, I'm looking at the plan that's presented. It's a town project. The project really has only minimal issues that we're looking for, the DEP approval, the Concom issues, and from our people from Fuss and O'Neill, there was only a small list of items. Really no input from the public. This is a great looking facility. It's only going to improve our activities for our school. I personally don't have a problem with closing the public hearing. And might the board think about having a meeting prior to the 13th of February for this project, for a possible vote on conditions and stuff? The reason why I say that is going all the way to the 27th. I don't know if there's any restraints on going out to bid, any timeframes that the building committee has in place. So I'd ask you guys to consider that, maybe a special meeting. We've done it for other applicants before, and this is a town project. The items that were listed were minute at best, and our Board of Health agent was good with what they're proposing, as long as they're DEP compliant for the hookup to the existing leaching field. I don't think that's an issue. The pole height requirements, I don't see that being a major hurdle. In Concom, the DEP NOI isn't that big, so as the gentleman from Fuss and O'Neill, and I apologize, I forget your name, it'll take me a couple times, so you'll have to come back. The separation from the water table and stuff, the 2 foot to 1.8, that doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. And that's coming from our experts, so I just throw that all out there for us and for a consideration.
Well, I'm wondering if we could just approve this with with conditions tonight. With the conditions that the, lighting is looked at to make sure that we have the proper height for the lighting. And I think there was also, was it the fire department that still has to look at this?
The fire department rendered comments already.
Oh, okay.
I just was uncertain whether or not the applicant had met with the fire department after the TRC.
Oh, okay.
And obtained additional comments.
Well,
Bless you.
we could approve this tonight with the condition that the fire department has to approve, and it has to be anything that the fire department wants, we want placed on the plan.
My only concern is that, I know there's a meeting this week with the CPC for those funds, and that if those funds that were originally requested aren't granted, that the plans will change. I know, I'm on the CPC committee, so I've heard some of the things that might change. So I don't know how that affects us if we approve this plan and then it does change. You know, certain parts are taken up just for the new budget. Should we continue, keep it open, or do we close it? I mean,
So maybe I misheard the applicant, his presentation, but from my understanding, this is the total vision build-out of the building committee. And like any major project that's done in this town, if the town approves, if we approve this plan, this is the total vision of that build-out. And if the town only has allocated, say in the initial build-out, say $100,000 to do it, and there's only money for 80,000, something would not be built, say a concession stand or what have you, something like that. Is that what I'm understanding? But eventually, on another town meeting, we could allocate more funds from CPC, if CPC decides that that's the best use of it, and allocate to finish this. But this is like a total vision, and that was what I got from your presentation. This is the vision of what is gonna go there. Is that correct?
Correct, and I think prior to town meeting, we're looking to bid the project in March, so that we would come to the town meeting with an actual bid number, and that's why I mentioned with the alternates, potentially have the bleachers, the building, certain items as alternates, so that when those numbers come in, we'll know going into town meeting, okay, this is our base bid number, if we can add all those in, or if we can add only a few and figure out what that is, and gives the town a little flexibility going to that, and we're hoping that when we bid this competitively, it'll come much lower than our budget is, but at this point, you know, just not knowing what the bidding climate is, we're
So
working on this.
I think your concern was right on the money, per se. But like any project, this is the vision. So if this is what the building committee brings to the town for the boards to approve, and how it's gonna be paid for and how it's gonna come in within budget and stuff, could be a multi-year process. So I think you're okay.
Right, 'cause my concern was just that we, you know, I guess my first question was why aren't we reviewing the proposed, when it's finalized, or when we find out what the funding is. I didn't realize we could talk about and approve a grander plan, if you will. And then if that gets scaled down, that's still okay for us. It's just, it's the first time since I've been on the board, we've done something like that. So I thought we had to see the actual plan, so.
Well, I think this is the total plan for what I'm hearing from the applicant. I think you're looking at the funding mechanism.
Right.
In any plan that, since I've been on the board, that we've looked at and we've approved, we never worried about any type of funding, whether it was a town plan, the school, or anything like that. That always came from a town meeting vote to allocate those funds. So if this is what the town building committee came up with, school building committee, or whoever did this, that came up with for a vision of the community, I think we're okay, because the money doesn't really matter to us. What does matter to us is what is being presented. Does it meet all the requirements of the bylaw? Does it meet the requirements of access, emergency access, public safety, and stuff like that? And I believe it does.
Because my concern was just if the funds that get allocated are less than everybody's asking for, like I've heard maybe the turnaround won't be part of this project right now. So will that affect our approving this or anything? Some of the, something else, I forget what it was, might not be in this plan right now. So just, will that affect how we,
Well, they wouldn't be able to eliminate it. It would be still on the plan. It would still have to be built. It might just be at a alternative stage in the
so
project.
if it's not built in this project on the initial building, then that's fine,
Because we approved the project.
okay.
We approved exactly what was on the build-out, or what was presented to us. We don't know what's gonna come down the road for funding mechanisms, and it's a good point that you bring up, because we don't know what the actual bid number would be. Nor is it, I guess it is our concern because we're residents of the town, but it's not our concern as, in my opinion, the planning board member, because we're looking at the actual design and if it meets the requirements.
But, and correct me if I'm wrong, this isn't the final plan from the school building committee yet, because we're waiting to hear the funding. We're waiting to hear the funding.
Correct. I think that the things that would maybe be considered removed or adjust would be the building, the press box, the bleachers, some of those minor items. I think the configuration of the field, the track, those things that have major implication on the site work, I think those are pretty much in place.
So those are the things that concern us, this board, whereas the building, the turnaround, that's really not, doesn't affect us as those other issues do. Is that my?
Well, I think depending on some of the decisions from the other boards, if we had to make, if the plan needed major revisions, we would come in front of you folks for either amendment or revision to the project. I think going over the next month or so and putting this to bid, I think this is pretty close to what will be bid. It just depends on how we break it up to give flexibility in the bid number.
I wasn't sure why we were why we were having this hearing before it was finalized, but I can understand that that's the main plan that we'd like to have.
I guess I want to see how we would react to this plan, if we wanted things changed, if we wanted major modifications. You know, it might do something financially to the project where, you know, they could or couldn't do it. But yeah, I can understand what Will's saying. This is the vision, whether they build the whole thing or just a piece of it, this is the vision, this is what we approve. And if things are changed in the future, you know, sometimes we get a project where we can do a minor modification, but then if it's a major modification, then we'd have to have another public hearing for it. Yeah.
Thanks for bearing with me.
Well, it's not a regular project where somebody comes in and says, this is what we want to build, we have the money, we know what it's going to cost, and we just want the planning board to approve this, or tell us how you would like us to modify it. But this is something like, you know, the money and everything is still being looked at, and so it's kind of, everything's kind of up in the air. But, I mean, I think we can approve this tonight with conditions, and if the change is made, then they'll just have to come back, that's all. You know, major changes. I mean, we're talking about septic. I don't think the septic is that's more of a Board of Health issue, so that's not really our concern. If the fire department, if they have to still look at this, or if they have other suggestions, we can condition that, I believe, so. Anybody else have any other questions or concerns?
I'm fine at this time.
So seeing that there weren't any comments from the public, we could close the public hearing.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
So you have a motion and a second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the application that's presented to us with the following conditions. That the applicant provide to us the septic system design being compliant with the Board of Health of Carver requirements. Meeting all the requirements that Fuss and O'Neill had put out. Item number 3, the pole height and the 12-foot access from the fire department. And also the Concom decision of the notice of intent. And also I'd like to put in our decision that we do give them some bit of relief from the separation of the groundwater from 2 foot to 1 foot 8 inches on the edges of the track. That's important that we put that in there. Thank you for that, by the way. Those would be our conditions.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate you
Thank you.
having. Mr. Chair, you skipped over the.
Yes,
Um,
it's been pointed out.
okay, sorry.
No,
Got
no.
it, Jim.
Not-
I'm
not
on
be-
the other side, you know?
Yeah, I was a little confused now. What did I do with my other notes? Oh, here it is. A lot of paperwork here tonight. All right, so also, we had a public hearing at 7 o'clock on the application of Edaville Land Holdings requesting a special permit and site plan review pursuant to sections 3100, 3580, and 5300 of the Carver zoning bylaw located at 0 Rochester Road in Carver, Mass. Assessors maps 86 lot 13 to allow a ground-mounted solar power generating facility in the tourist commercial district.
We're just setting the public hearing.
And so, that's not gonna be heard tonight, so it's gonna be continued to February 27th at 7 o'clock.
Question.
Mhm.
This is the public hearing, and they requested a continuance.
That's correct.
Can I inquire why?
They are intending to first go to, this is the solar we're talking?
Yes.
They are intending to first go to Conservation Commission, as the site is a former bog. DEP has made a decision that this is a wetland, however, it doesn't preclude the project from moving forward, so they're redesigning the site plan so that they can comply with environmental regulations. If, when Concom reviews and is favorable, it's believed at that point they'll be prepared to visit this board.
So, we won't need to see them. Did they have a date that they wanted to continue to?
They are going before Concom tomorrow,
Okay.
and so my sense is that they'll probably be prepared to see this board at our next meeting.
On the
As of now, it's the 27th.
27th?
Yeah, because we can't do the 13th.
Right, I'm just, and they believe that they can get through the Concom issues within a meeting?
I don't know that with
Okay.
certainty, but they would likely be prepared to continue at that time if they're not ready.
I'm just looking at our schedules, gonna be. Make a motion to continue the public hearing to February 27th at 7 o'clock.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye. That's gonna be a busy one.
We did close the public hearing on that, right?
All right, on other business, we have planning board member notes. Does any board member have anything they'd like to talk about this evening?
No, I am all set for now. I will bring up a couple things for the board members. I know that we talked at our last meeting about the solar bylaw committee. I know you guys met today, so that's a good thing. I also want to be able to present this fiscal year the bylaw for the marijuana shops and stuff. So I know that I've talked with Stephen quite a bit in the past week or so. So hopefully we'll be able to present something to this board as we go forward for our hearings on that. I know it's pretty important. That's about it. That's all I got. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else? Planning director notes?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The only matter I'd like to bring up this evening is a correction to a decision the board has rendered back in October. It seems that the board voted on conditions for the Fuller Street solar project. When the decision was drafted the following week, it appears that a template was used, and a condition was added administratively that the board did not vote on. Having spoken to the town clerk about the best way to remedy this oversight, I have here a letter that I'd like to ask the board members from that meeting on October 3rd to sign, that can be on file with the town clerk and registered with the Registry of Deeds. If it pleases the board, I'd be glad to read the letter into record.
Sure, go ahead.
With regard to applicant Clean Energy Collective special permit and site plan review on a solar array at Fuller Street, map 50, lots 1 and 10B. Dear Ms. Doyle, Town Clerk, at its meeting of October 3rd, 2017, the planning board voted to approve the special permit and site plan review application of Clean Energy Collective for 2.0 megawatts solar array located off of Fuller Street, as shown on the plans entitled Site Development Plans 42 Fuller Street Solar Project, prepared by Atlantic Design Engineers, Inc., dated July 27, 2017, revised October 3rd, 2017, with a scale of 1 inch equals 40 feet. 10 conditions were enumerated in that decision. Condition 10 states, quote, "The interior cart paths to the solar facility from Ward Street are deemed adequate for the solar use and the agricultural use of the expanded locus, but are not deemed adequate for additional uses unless so approved by the planning board." The purpose for this correspondence is to inform the town clerk that condition 10 was erroneously included in the final draft of the planning board's decision dated October 11, 2017, and filed in the office of the town clerk on October 20, 2017. Special permit case number P600-17SP. This condition was not subject to a vote by the members of the planning board as evidenced by the provision regarding Ward Street, which is not located in proximity to the applicant's proposed project site. Please accept this letter as action by the planning board to corrected administrative oversight, hereby alleviating adherence by the applicant to condition 10. And it goes on to instruct that anyone who has any questions may reach out to me directly.
I think that takes care of that. I make a motion to do the amendment that was presented to us.
Second that?
So we have a motion, a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, before we move on, I want to go back to planning board member notes. The only thing that I want to kind of find some information on is the legal standards from the ZBA lawsuit that the planning board has. I don't know where that stands. So I'd like to formally request information from that, from our council and also from the town ZBA's council, and find out if ZBA has met. I know they haven't met to take action on that as of yet, and that's still hanging out there. I just want to make sure that the applicant doesn't move forward on a plan that is under these conditions, because the plan that we appealed, we decided that they presented a total different plan. So I want to make sure that that we approve, that ZBA takes action on that sooner than later, because it seems like it's dragging on.
Do we know if there's been any work done there to
Don't know.
the plan that we
They shouldn't be doing anything.
did approve a plan?
We did approve the plan, but it was the approval was based on, and I don't want to get into too much of the particulars because it was under executive session, but there were conditions that were there that they had to adhere to prior to them being able to file that. So I'll
There was
just,
also a sense of urgency that.
Yep. And that's my concern, because I haven't heard anything. Our attorney hasn't come back to us with, hey, this has been done, blah, 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 because we gave him some orders, directing orders, so
Yep.
we need to find that out.
Yes, I agree.
Is there a way to find out if any work's been started on that project?
If it pleases the board, I'll be very glad to conduct a staff site visit at the site tomorrow morning, and I can report back to you offline.
Great.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. And then just to follow up, maybe Steve can draft a letter of concern up to the town administrator, because he'll be able to find that information out for us quicker than later. That'd be great.
I'd be glad to.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Next is the minutes of December 12th, 2017.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to table these minutes till our next meeting. This is the first time I'm seeing it, and they're quite detailed. I want to make sure that we didn't miss anything. There was a couple public hearings that were involved in the same public hearing. I would ask the board to consider tabling to our next meeting, so I can do a thorough, other than doing it right now.
I don't see any problem with that.
So that'd be my motion to table to our next meeting.
Since I agree with that, I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, our
Thank you
next
very much.
meeting date. Now, do we have anything,
For the
see,
13th,
we
are
were
done
talking
with your
about
phone
February 13th. Do we have anything?
As for now, nothing is on the agenda. That's not to say that we won't get something in the interim
Okay.
period. And we need only 3 members for a quorum for most of our actions. So if you were to adjourn to the 13th, and pending a quorum, we should still be able to convene as a group.
Okay, so we'll,
So we'll
we'll
just keep that.
we'll still have a meeting date, February 13th, unless we hear otherwise.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion, a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
8:01.